תל אביב 360, ערוץ הפודקאסטים של אוניברסיטת תל אביב.
קומיקאים בקמפוס, תוכניתו של דוקטור אמיר טל.
Welcome to Comedians on Campus. Today we have a very special episode with Modi Rosenfeld, a star American comedian who is inaugurated today into Anu Museum's Jewish Comedy Hall of Fame.
Yes. Amazing honor.
Quite amazing.
Yes.
And was gracious enough to come over to our podcast in between his busy schedule. Thanks very much.
Thank you. So the podcast is about comedians.
The podcast is about humor.
Humor.
Yeah, we want to understand what humor is. So,
Okay.
So we're cognitive neuroscientists, and that means we study like psychological phenomena and how they're realized in the brain. So like the software and the hardware.
Wow.
So amongst other things, we study humor and we're fascinated by it.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a phenomena that's very central to our psyche. As you know, everybody laughs and tries to get laugh and pays good money to get to laugh. And we see it in all extreme conditions and everything. It's very central. And compared to how central and supposedly important it is, it's not very well understood. And there's theories since ancient Greece. Many philosophers and thinkers and psychologists and sociologists and everyone who tried to understand it. We feel it's lacking theory, like we don't really understand it well enough. And we think part of the reason may be that the people who came up with all these theories weren't necessarily funny. So we want to ask people who actually know how to produce humor about their intuitions. Maybe, you know, they don't have it explicitly, don't have an explicit theory for it, but they must know a lot more than people like me,
Right.
who just study psychology.
Okay.
So the idea is to make scientists meet comedians and try to discuss it and see.
It's an amazing idea. Amazing.
Thanks. And we're blessed to have you, and we're very thankful to have you. So this is a first for us. First of all, we've never had Hall of Famer before.
Wow. Thank you.
Second, as you may have noticed, we'll do it in English. Finally, I didn't understand anything of the previous episodes. There's a lot of that. So to listeners who don't speak English, I'm sorry, and we'll try to have subtitles on YouTube, and we'll be back to Hebrew very soon.
Okay.
But we're happy to do it in English and reach out to maybe new crowds.
Great.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll first of all ask you the basic question I ask everyone.
Go ahead.
Have you thought of these questions before? Like, do you have an idea what makes something funny?
I see a reaction. So I'm not one of those comedians that sits down at a typewriter and starts to write jokes. I sit with friends, and I say something, I see a laugh. I see that's a premise. That's something maybe I should work on and add, you know, beginning, end, and taglines.
Yeah.
That's how a joke works. A premise, a bit, and that's where I find things that are funny.
Yeah.
So that's my process in creating comedy.
Cool. But I imagine you have like some kind of intuition that what may potentially be funny. Like, I mean, it's not a random, you stumble onto something that gets a laugh. I imagine that you have some kind of an ear or an eye for things that are potentially funny.
Right. Well, you know, it's the way you speak and deliver anything you say. Like I'm speaking now, and you're beginning to laugh. Do you see that? Yeah. It's just something somebody has.
Yeah.
Good comedians just have that in them.
It's all delivery, you think?
A lot, of course. Yes, it's all in the delivery.
All the delivery?
Yes.
There's nothing there if I let someone with no delivery like abilities.
There's, you know, Woody Allen, I forgot how he said it, but he said, there's the worst joke in the world, somebody that can deliver it and get a laugh. And there's the funniest joke in the world, somebody who has no delivery, can't get a laugh from it. You understand?
Yeah.
But it's there's a few different types of jokes. First of all, let's say you're imitating somebody.
Yeah.
So you're just in shock at how similar, or maybe you're seeing it at an angle that you didn't see it before.
Yeah.
And then there's, you know, you're a psychiatrist, a psychologist, psychoanalyst, I don't know what you are,
Tons of letters.
brain surgeon, whatever you are. There's chokhmah. Ma ze chokhmah? Koach ma. you're showing the energy of what is of what. Like someone just realized that. So when you say a joke and you say, you know, whatever your joke is, and someone sees it as what, it's like it's eye-opening to them.
Okay,
it's an eye-opening experience.
It's an eye-opening, right? Yeah. That I like completely. Like I'm in line with. Like there's always a surprise in here, right? It has to be like you can't make like a non-surprising.
Right. If you see the punchline a mile ahead, it's not gonna be funny.
Right.
It's you bringing back into it. Yeah.
So you have to have. So this is like something that came up with the previous guests as well, and I can relate to that. You have to have something surprising and change the perspective of someone that's listening to you. Like you have to show them something in a new light. Right. Make them see things differently. That sounds makes sense.
Well, you're showing something differently, but even though it's a similar experience. So I always say in Israel that all the comedians have so much material because they've all lived the same. And so they've all been to the army, the tzofim, the bagrut, everything that they've gone through in Israel. When they get their driver's license, they have to go through hell for 2 years. Whatever the situation is in Israel, your entire kahal, your entire audience has lived it, so you can do it. Whereas in America, it's much different. The guy living in Texas is a different experience than the guy living in New York.
Yeah,
and over here, you also know all of your politicians. Yeah. You know everybody in the Knesset and how they speak, and you can imitate them or joke about them or what they said or what they did. Whereas in America, no one knows who the politician. We barely know who the president and the vice president is. So it's you have that the level of that you understand people, you know.
So you need like, and why is that important to have like a common base? Because you need to make them see something in a different light, so they have to have seen it before.
If I went up on a stage in America and began to imitate Bibi or whoever else is in the government, they don't look at me, come out of my mind. Yeah, because they don't understand that. Mm-hmm. In Israel, you go up and you imitate something about Bibi that's just like him. Just like in America, all the comedians do imitate Trump.
Yeah,
so it's that.
So you have to have like a certain common edge. Yeah, and I mean that's particularly like we thought of speaking with you is something you're a master of, which is like the social aspect, the community aspect of humor, because that's something we didn't discuss much, like the more sociological, yeah, in Hebrew it's with a tzaddik.
Okay.
Aspect of humor, and I think it has a lot to do with that, the fact that there's like a common knowledge for the crowd.
Yeah,
you're Jewish.
So it's a Jewish crowd.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So when a Jewish crowd watches me, they understand me on another level than a regular audience does. It's presented to another. Just like if you were to watch an Irish comedian, you get a laugh. He's telling you about growing up in Ireland, and he's going to explain it to you as you go along. Yeah. But somebody who lived in Ireland is going to understand it on another level. Do you understand what I'm saying? Sure. So if I'm talking about making kiddush or on wine, I'm explaining to the audience that the two differences between Sephardic and Ashkenazi on doing it is there's a difference on it. But somebody who's actually lived it and seen it, and now is being told the differences, is experiencing it in a much different way.
Yeah, because he's getting like a change of perspective, while the others is getting new information. It's like their first.
So me, I'm giving the world a portal into the Jewish world through laughter and pride. Yeah. Not through a negative way, you know. So that's that's
super cool. Like, and I see the same thing like with black comedians in the US. Like I get like a glimpse into their world, but like most of the jokes go above my head. Like
right, a good comedian, none of the jokes should go over your head.
Well, yeah, I feel there's like a lot there which I'm missing. Maybe
I always try to think whenever I'm doing a joke, and if I want to throw a word in Yiddish in, I translate right away.
Oh, okay.
I say schmatte, a rag, right away. I said chutzpah, and the audacity. The audacity to call this a robe, it's a schmatte. So that, I right away make it so that other people can understand what it is. Yeah.
Cool. And you see, like I saw your special and stuff, and there's typically like a goy in the crowd, like a non-Jew in the crowd. and he provides like some kind of reference point, right? Like
it's an extra layer to the show, especially in the comedy special, Know Your Audience, which is now available on YouTube for everybody.
And it's great.
It's, thank you. It's, there's a Gentile in the audience, and on top of explaining it to everybody, explaining it to him, and even more. Yeah. And it adds a layer to the audience, because obviously he's representing everybody that's not Jewish watching it. Yeah. So that's,
I know. In a way, it helps like a Jewish crowd member see themselves from the outside. Like it provides like a it allows us to make fun of ourselves in a way. Yeah, that's really cool. So so there's this like it's known that laughter is good for which is kind of separate from humor. Like product of humor, laughter is good for it likes releases endorphins and elevates your pain threshold and cools you down, calms you down. And it brings back, it bonds. It brings people together. Laughing is also contagious. Like there's evolutionary theory that laughter has evolved as like a social thing.
Okay, so you're going a lot over here. So yes, laughter is contagious. Yeah. If you're in an audience and there's somebody who's a very strong laugher, you can see how it affects the rest of the audience. Yeah. Something else I'll tell you that we've noticed in comedy shows. Yeah. I've noticed the darker the audience is, the easier it is for them to laugh. Because if you're laughing and cracking up and falling apart and tearing and doing all of that, and there's light and people are looking at you, it makes you self-conscious. If it's all dark, right? So usually I have the audience all dark and a little bit of light on the front, just so I can see a few faces from the back of the stage. That's a good. Another thing that's very important in comedy that we've noticed by touring, the chair can't be too comfortable. How come? The chair can't be too comfortable because they need to sit in a way that their body's engaged. I did a show in Toronto in what used to be a movie theater. Okay. So the chairs were like to go sit and watch a movie. So you're sitting all the way like this. I'm looking. They're all just, they have with the rest of their head, and it was like performing for people getting chemotherapy. It was, they're like sleeping. They were so out of it that they weren't even laughing. They were just doing this. They were taking a nap. Really? So you have to have a good chair, a good uncomfortable chair, so that the body's engaged, the core is engaged. Interesting. It's very interesting. Yeah.
If they were standing up, if the stand-up was the crowd, it would be a bit...
No, stand-up is no good. That's no good either. That's no good either. A few things you can't... In my contract, whenever I perform at events that are not a theater, a fundraiser, but there's a dinner. Yeah. In my contract, it says there can't be any food in front of them, especially for a Jewish audience. There can't be a waiter in the room. Okay. If a Jew sees a waiter, excuse me, could you bring some water? You can't. It's such a distraction. I see. You have to focus. Comedy isn't singing. Somebody who's singing is up there singing. Yeah. They have their monitors. They're in their zone. Comedy, the audience has to be in with you. Yeah. They have to be a part of it with you. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
It's interesting because, like, on the other hand, like, we know that people laugh less when they're alone. So like it's not only the contagious effect, it's also the fact that when you're in a crowd, you feel more of an unconscious need to express your like if you're sitting alone watching a comedy show, which supposedly should be the most relaxed, most uninhibited, right? But people laugh less.
Probably.
Yeah. So it's not. So that's like kind of.
It's also a way to show the other person that you got the joke.
Exactly. Yeah. It's kind of signaling.
Also, something I noticed. We just flew to Australia, but we flew on a Hong Kong airline, Cathay Pacific, and the people who are Asian, when they speak, they have this little bit of It's like it's a nervous kind of a laughter. I was watching it. Oh, would you like some more coffee? Like as if like there was like a laugh or something. They have to show that they're laughing. That you can analyze that on your own. I don't know about that. But.
No, that's completely. I don't know if it's completely separate. But like it's known that most laughter in the world is not about humor. Yeah. It's about like.
And then the other thing you said, because you were saying so much, the other thing was the unity, the achdut that the comedy brings. Right. So after COVID, when we began doing shows live, and I saw the audience laughing together after being locked away, I saw a different energy. Yeah. I call it Mashiach energy. This is Mashiach energy when you see an audience laughing together, because that's afdut, which is godliness.
Yeah.
Right. So God is, what's God? God is Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Right. So Adonai Echad, not that there's one God in the air saying you're good, you're bad. Is the Echad, it's oneness. You and me sitting here, they're putting together this whole thing into a machine that edits later. That's oneness, that's godliness. So an audience laughing together is godliness. It's Mashiach energy. It's what will bring peace. It's what will bring all of that unity. They're all laughing together. All of us in one room together having a great time. That's the unity. That's the most important thing.
I don't subscribe I just got from a professor here. I just got a very cool paper from 2 years ago. There's a theory that laughter have developed as a kind of grooming, remote grooming process. There's grooming in animals. It's you pick each other, you pick each other, and they worked out the numbers. You can only spend yay time grooming, and it's important for a community. So monkeys do it, apes do it. They groom each other, and only do it for 20% of the time. And that allowed them only to be in groups of 50. So when ancient Homo sapiens wanted to be in larger groups, laughter, there's this theory suggests that maybe laughter is a way of grooming with a remote control. So now you can do it with 20 people, with 150 people at the same time. So it's, and you see that laughter elicits endorphins and has a similar effect to grooming.
Okay.
So according to this theory, maybe what people are paying good money for is to feel closer to their fellow man. The point of it.
I always listen. I don't know. That was a very weird where you went out. I'm not completely sure. I understand physiology that you can monitor the brain and see that the laughter brings endorphins and all that. But I always say, be the friend that brings the friends to the comedy show. Yeah. So if you see a show go on sale, don't buy a ticket for you and your wife. Buy 6 tickets. So you and 6 friends, instead of going for a dinner somewhere, you go sit there and you laugh. You sit there and you laugh, and you're laughing together. Grooming, if you're saying that's the grooming. Yeah. So that's something that you can do together, and obviously you can't do it 24 hours. Sure. An hour and a half, you have laughter, and it's an amazing experience that you've had with your friends. Yeah. It's an experience.
And you feel what do you think? People get out of it, when they leave the theater an hour and a half later.
I'm telling you, people say to me, after COVID, I haven't laughed in 3 years. I haven't laughed in 3 years. I've had people come to me and say to me, things are so moving. I haven't laughed in 6 years since my daughter laughed. Since my daughter passed away, and somehow they were at the show. Some friend brought them to a show. Yeah. Right? Some friend brought them to a show and they ended up coming and laughing, and they said, we haven't laughed in 6 years. We really haven't laughed in 6 years. And now I've been performing since the war began, since the October 7th. October 9th, I had a show in Paris. You were here, right? I was here. And October 9th, I had a show in Paris. People you remember October 9th? People still were seeing live footage of war. They were still shooting. Yeah. And I was in Paris. The people are watching the war, and the lights go off, and I go on, and it was just it's just that's what it is. Yeah. You have to keep going, and they needed it. They needed that hour and a half of laughter, and then they went back into the phone. Yeah, yeah.
We noticed in October 7th that the people who were running around, there was an immediate demand for comics. You didn't see actors or sculptors running around the hospital, but comedians were recruited. They were everywhere. It's a real need. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, do you feel Jewish humor in particular? I know you define yourself as a Jewish comic, not just a comic who is Jewish, right? Right. Jewish comic. Do you think there is such a thing as Jewish humor? Do you find any characteristics of Jewish humor that you don't find elsewhere?
It's when the topic is Jewish.
Is that's it? That's
when the topic is Jewish. Okay. It's I don't know. It's when the topic is and the flavor is Jewish.
Yeah. So the flavor is any kind of special. Could you see Jewish humor on another topic?
It could be on any topic.
Yeah.
So you talk about anything you want to talk about. any topic you give, you can make it, you see it through the eyes of a Jew.
Which is like practical and...
So, back in the museum, there's an exhibit and you have a picture of Jackie Mason, who was the Jewish voice in the 80s. In the 80s, you heard him speaking. He talked. Do you know what Jackie Mason is?
I know the name.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You don't know what Jackie Mason is and you're doing this whole thing on comedy?
It won't leave this room.
It won't leave this room. You better edit that out. Watch. It's called The World According to Me.
Okay.
He had a Broadway show for 3 years.
Okay.
And it's really how a Jew sees the world. But things have changed since the 80s.
Yeah.
So now the New York Times wrote that I'm the new Jackie Mason, which is an honor to be called that.
Yeah.
And the view, it's the eyes from so back he was an older Jew and he talked like this, and then we get the discount, you can't get a discount and that kind of a thing. But it's changed.
Yeah.
The Jew is it's evolved. There's Israel, there's an army, there's Jews that are handsome. It's not a broken down old man that looked like Menachem Begin. It looked like you have a bigger, a handsome guy, gay, married to a man. It's evolved. Yeah. And now what's that person's view? And that's, if you watch my comedy special, you can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. We try to think what is Jewish humor in our eyes. What we came up with is like something which we also talked to with an Israeli comedian recently, Heli Wotner, about like taking down the pathos of life, like uncovering the very earthliness and like practicality and like everything is like rational, like beneath all the layers of like ideology and things, like being like this. We thought the Jewish perspective might be something that like undermines all the big ideas, like something like comedy versus drama in ancient times.
I don't know if I follow.
Yeah.
Again, every comedian presents their material in a different way.
Yeah.
It's a different genre.
Yeah.
But so maybe hers is, I don't know. I can't.
I'll give you an example from your comedy. You have like a joke about like people in the ambulance coming, like a Jewish ambulance.
Yeah.
Comes, right? And there's like
Hatzalah. Yeah.
Hatzalah, yeah. And there's like 12 people and you say 2 of them do the work and 10 like try to start estimating your property. Right. Just with better delivery.
Right. Yeah. So.
So like the fact that like they look at it in the practical manner, they're not like, heavily involved, like everything is like rational. And while we're here, maybe let's estimate your property.
Right. So you have me talking about the Jewish ambulance corps in Israel. So now, first of all, somebody who's not Jewish is watching this and they go, wow, the Jews have an ambulance corps.
Yeah.
They Google it. They go, oh my God. That's why I always try to mention something about the Holocaust. So that people who don't know that the Holocaust existed. I say Holocaust Museum, you know it because you live in Israel, you're Israeli, you're Jewish. Yeah. There's people who said to me, what's a Holocaust Museum? Yeah, really? Yes. And they Googled it.
In New York?
In New York.
In New York?
Yes. The Comedy Cellar. I did a joke and people like, what's a Holocaust Museum? Yeah. Yes. That's why you have to always talk about it and mention it and describe it and speak of it and all that. And I have a joke now where I mention Mengele, Dr. Mengele, Joseph Mengele. And people, what's that? And it gets a big laugh. And then people go, who the hell's Mengele? And then they go and Google and they see the atrocities that this man did. And it's a way to bring that into the world, into the fold. Yeah. Yes. So, but the Jew. So the joke of the Jewish guy in the coming to the house with the ambulance, it's like it's great. It's because it's look, they help each other. The Jews help each other. That's a layer of it. The Jews are also smart. They're always thinking how much you can get for the property. It's in a good way.
It's all in one.
It's a
yeah. It's a win-win.
It's a win-win.
You have like Mengele, you have like also like a dark streak to your comedy. I thought like there's like some of that's like dark humor, like making jokes about the Holocaust or whatever.
I don't know if is that dark humor.
I think so, isn't it?
I don't know. Which joke? The Shabbat elevator. The Shabbat elevator.
Yeah. That was
Hitler and Goebbels in the Shabbat elevator.
Yeah, right. That's even. Yeah. I mean, I guess aren't people like some people like doesn't that cross their threshold for sensitivity?
No,
No?
Holocaust survivors that watch my show are so thankful I talk about it. Thank God you're mentioning Hitler and Goebbels and the Shabbat Nazis and Third Reich. You have to be very careful. If you watch in that skit, you know, instead of saying Auschwitz, I say World War II. Instead of saying Holocaust, I said World War II. And you know, and instead of saying Auschwitz, I said Poland. Little things like that could trigger somebody off. It's very, very careful. But wording is very...
Goebbels does not?
Goebbels doesn't. First of all, most people don't even know what the hell that is.
No, the Jews know.
Jews, they do know. But first of all, it's a funny name, Goebbels. It's a great name. And Hitler and Goebbels, you're imagining Hitler and Goebbels in a Shabbos elevator, in Malit Shabbat. Could you just imagine having a conversation about the halachot of the Malit?
And coming in like pro-Jewish, leaving Hitler and Goebbels. Yeah. But I also noticed like what I have like down is like you have this joke, which I loved about like doing Zoom. And then you describe how awful it is doing Zoom, like school Zoom. And then you said, I'm surprised there was no Zoom school shooting.
Right. Yeah.
That's dark.
Is it dark? Yes, I guess it's a light dark. It's light dark.
Gray.
Yeah,
dark gray.
It's dark gray. I'll go with you. Okay. We agree it's dark gray. It's not, there's other comedians who are much darker.
Sure. For sure. I was just wondering like if that's like some kind of like characteristic of Jewish humor, maybe that you're allowed to speak about everything. I think maybe it's a more tolerant crowd, maybe in that respect.
I don't know. It's, you know, the Zoom school shooting it's a tap on dark. It's not, we're not staying on the topic long.
I see.
There's other comedians that do school shootings. They stay for hours. They can talk about and go really make the people. Louis C.K. can do, wow. You can really go off with that. Yeah.
Anthony just there are exactly. But I was surprised.
My goal, those are comedians, I'm not saying any name, but those are comedians who want to see how far they can go. Not my goal. My goal is laughter, unity, Mashiach energy. That's the goal. So I stay away from like schlepping into that zone. But good. Okay.
Cool. I love the joke of the guy who went to a rabbi and said, my son became Christian. And then the rabbi said, my son became, let's stay together. And then God says, my son became Christian.
Right.
That was amazing. So this is
again a uniting joke. Do you know that has over 11 million hits on it? It's a uniting joke. It unites Jews and non-Jews. It unites them both together.
Right.
If you see the comments on that, people are quoting every part of the Old Testament in there and the New, and they have such arguments within them, but it's such a uniting joke. It's such a great joke. It's a joke. It's not a joke. It's a joke delivered with brilliance, but it's a joke.
It is.
But it's also in the right place. You know.
No, it's wonderful. It's like it immortalizes God, right? It makes you see God in a new perspective. Like God is a father.
It shows. It tells that that they believe that Jesus was God's son. So which then became Christian. It's obvious. It's a very layered. It's a million ways to look at it.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. I have a bunch of other jokes here. I thought were great, but like I know you're on a tight schedule.
Yes, we do a whole bunch of other interviews.
You're doing a lot of fame.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll wrap up, unfortunately. But could I ask you? We like to enlarge our audience's library. Is there like a particular comedic bit you like and you think maybe not everyone knows, or maybe it's underappreciated?
Mine?
Not necessarily.
Oh. First of all, I guess listening to you and knowing that you never saw Jackie Mason. First of all,
what should I look?
Everybody should see Jackie Mason's show that ran on Broadway for 3 years. It's called The World According to Me.
On YouTube?
I Google it. It's somewhere, available somewhere. Alan King.
I heard you talk.
Alan King is a comedian that also not many people know and all that. And He had a special at Carnegie Hall in 1980 on HBO. I think it's available somewhere on YouTube, and you should look at. That's one of my. That was where I got my inspiration for my cadence and my timing. From watching Alan King. It's the first time I saw a Jewish comedian with pride, and he has money, and he's doing well. Not, I'm starving. My wife. It's not. It's fun. It's a great. I love this cadence of timing, and it's very, very great. And that's something. And obviously George Carlin and Dave Attell and Jim Norton and Louis C.K. and there's such great comedians out there.
Yeah.
John Mulaney, and there's just amazing comedians out there, and you should watch it and make time to watch comedy.
Yeah.
My new tour is called Pause for Laughter. Take a minute, laugh. Yeah.
You're doing Tel Aviv tomorrow, right? Or
tomorrow, Chala Tarbut on Thursday. Yeah.
Is it the same like to the Israeli crowd, same as you do back home?
It's going to be a little bit different. It's an audience here that's big part of it is Anglo-Americans.
Right.
So it's people that moved to Israel from England, America, Australia, all that. And now we've broken out into Israelis that speak English. So it's, I throw in a lot of Hebrew, but I translate right away. Cool. So I don't lose anybody.
Amazing. Thanks very much.
My pleasure. I hope this helped your thesis, your whatever you're working on.
Yeah, when there's a paper, I'll send it to you, and you'll be in the acknowledgements.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
It was wonderful. Please don't let the Hall of Fame change you. We had Patrick Ewing here before and after, completely different person.
Jay-Z, maybe Jay-Z.
Yeah. Also, he was so humble before.
Kanye West. Okay.
Yeah. Kanye West. It used to be Eitan West.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. On Comedians on Campus, I'm Amir Tal. Shai Fischer is here and Mickey Miro. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thank you.
And all those of you listening, if you want to see a show, modilive.com, MODILIVE.com. Would love to hear from you too. And that's it. Shows are available. And be the friend that brings the friends to the comedy show. Cause your friends to have laughter in their life.
תל אביב 360, ערוץ הפודקאסטים של אוניברסיטת תל אביב.